What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and today we're going to be talking about Sundial Growers, ticker symbol SNDL. This stock has exploded in after hours and pre-market. We're up about 12% on the day currently, even after falling quite a bit during the trading day, and there are a bunch of catalysts that this thing has going for it. There are a bunch of people who want to get in on the stock, so let's take a look at the chart. We're going to discuss the catalysts, why it could be blowing up, and what this thing has going for it, right? What happened also that caused it to rise in the first place. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the earnings call, because this is the most obvious catalyst that this thing has. Obviously, they had their earnings call and rose quite a bit as soon as it came out. They had great earnings, right? They had net earnings of $11.3 million versus last year. During the same quarter, they lost $71.4 million. So it's showing that the company has improved greatly over the past year. They've become much more profitable. Well, they've become profitable in the first place, right? They're actually profitable instead of making a loss every year, which is a big reason why institutions were not willing to buy the stock and also wanting to short them. We're going to talk about the short interest later, but they also increased cannabis segment revenues by 57% quarter over quarter. So massive gains in their cannabis segment revenues, which is their main business, right? And they also have $1.2 billion. Now, this is a very impressive statistic for them. They have $1.2 billion in cash and investments versus about a $1.7 billion market cap. So this is a very safe company to be buying into because they actually have a lot of cash and cash equivalents that they can use to back up their share price, right? If the share price drops by too much, then they would actually be valued at less than what the cash and cash equivalents they have is. So you really do have a lot of protection with this stock. It couldn't drop 50% without being valued so lowly that it is not even as expensive as it is intrinsically valuable. So you really have a lot of protection with the stock that has this much cash and investments on their balance sheet. And they also highlighted some past acquisitions, mainly Alcana, which is Canada's largest private liquor retailer. Very impressive acquisition that they had in October. So they will soon be posting some revenues for Alcana and their liquor business. Those will likely be benefiting them in the future, in future earnings calls, but they've likely already started to get some earnings from that as well. So Alcana was a great purchase for them. Now, speaking of purchases, they also announced a share repurchase program. And this is really important for Sundial because it basically means that instead of diluting like they have in the past, if you look back over the past 3 years, they used to be a much more valuable company. And that was because they had far fewer shares outstanding. Over the years, they have diluted quite a bit. They did this to stay afloat, to improve their business. And now finally, they have improved their business enough that they no longer need to dilute. And in fact, they are going to start returning value to the shareholders. They are starting to buy back shares instead of put shares out on the market for sale. So they're finally actually bumping up quite a bit on this news that they'll be doing a share buyback. And they are now authorized to buy back $100 million worth of shares, which is a huge point for institutions, right? Institutions like to short stocks that are doing dilution because they view it as a very surefire way to actually make money on their short positions. Now that Sundial is actually buying back shares, if you remember correctly, way back when Trump first became president, a lot of companies were doing share buybacks, and that actually led to massive market movements to the upside. So we could see a similar thing with Sundial, right? They're authorized to buy back $100 million worth of their shares or 102.8 million shares, whichever comes first. This will return value to the shareholders and restore institutional confidence. So institutions may actually be looking to close some of their short positions, this we'll talk about in just a second, and maybe open up some long positions. Institutions already have been doing this over the past while. We've covered Sundial a lot on the channel, so it's no surprise that institutions, were getting in a little bit early, but some of them, unfortunately, have not gotten in on Sundial. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for us, because now there is massive short squeeze potential with Sundial stock. And we're going to look at the Ortex to confirm this in a second, but they have a short interest of about 15% of the free float. 300 million shares are short currently. Over that amount, actually, there's more than 300 million shares short. And their utilization is about 98%. So if we look at Ortex, we can see that all of those things are fairly accurate, right? 15% short interest as a percentage of the free float. 98% utilization. So of the shares available to short, 98% have been shorted. That means not many additional shares can be shorted. So shorts don't have that much ammo to push Sundial down with, at least not legally. Maybe they could potentially naked short or do something with dark pools, who knows? But institutions will do whatever they have to stop themselves from losing money. So that is something to watch out for. And there are currently 315 million shorted shares. So very impressive short interest statistics, right? This means that we may actually see a short squeeze because fundamental changes in companies are what scare shorts out. When they see a stock just pumping, unless it pumps up absolutely massively and they get margin called, then they typically don't have to cover, and they realize that stocks will typically move back down to fundamental evaluations. However, the fact that Sundial is moving up off of fundamental news, off of a good earnings call and share repurchase programs, and that they're no longer going to be diluting that much, most likely at least, means that there have been some fundamental changes and that shorts will have to cover at some point, right? These shorts have their short positions locked and loaded. They've got them already, and they are going to have to, at some point, cover those short positions, and they can do it now, and they can hope that Sundial will drop a little bit more, and they can do it, in a couple of days maybe. But over the long term, it's looking like Sundial will likely be rising, is my expectation, right? Off of this news, off of these fundamental changes, I expect Sundial to rise over the long term. So institutions have a choice. Do they want to cover now, or do they want to cover later when Sundial is potentially a lot more expensive? Now, before we get to the final catalyst, I will offer you guys the opportunity in the description of this video to get 2 free stocks from WEBULL. All you have to do is open up an account using the link in the description of this video. You get 2 free stocks valued up to $2,300. The first stock you get just for opening your account. The second stock you get for depositing up to 1 penny or anything over 1 penny in the account. So that's what you can do if you want 2 free stocks valued up to $2,300. Now, the fourth catalyst that we have is a potential gamma squeeze. And for those of you who don't know, it's when institutions, or really when anyone who's sold call options or put options in some cases, needs to buy shares to cover in the money calls at expiration. So essentially what happens with these call options is people buy a lot of call options for stocks. We have the November 12th and November 19th strike dates. There are very many open interest call options. Institutions have likely sold these call options without actually owning a lot of the underlying shares. And if these call options are in the money, so over $1 at expiration, which is November 12th and November 19th, institutions will have to buy up the shares to hand out to the investors of these call options, right? People have bought these call options with the expectation that they will be paid out shares if Sundial is over $1 at the expiration date. So November 12th has 100,000 open interest calls at $1, and that's only helpful today because today is November 12th. So institutions may try to hold us down, especially some of the institutions who have sold those call options. They may call upon their buddies who might own some Sundial shares and tell them to drop their shares for a big profit. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? Maybe they'll do some naked shorting. Who knows? But they want this thing below $1 by the end of the day. It looks like they have been successful in pushing us down because if we ended up being above $1 at the end of the day, that would be very bad for institutions who have sold these call options. There's over 100,000 of them, and that would be absolutely probably a big gamma squeeze in price that we would see in after hours as a lot of institutions scrambled to get their hands on Sundial shares. Now, November 19th, we still have for another week, right? November 19th is next Friday, and there are about 150,000 open interest call options at that strike date, so even more than November 12th. And this could lead to big gains on its own, right? If we just happen to get a gamma squeeze, if we just get over $1 by November 19th and start moving up on that, right, on institutions having to buy up shares to pay out to the owners of these call options, that could cause to large price appreciation. However, what that could also trigger is a short squeeze, right? Shorts may have no choice if they end up getting margin called on their massive short positions. You can see once again that there are massive amounts of shares being shorted, over 300 million, and shorts may have to cover a little bit if they start seeing Sundial move up dramatically in price off of gamma squeeze news. So a couple of other things, right? Minor catalysts that we have going for us. Number one, we are top trending on StockTwits, right? So a lot of people are hearing about Sundial, and at this point, honestly, who hasn't heard about Sundial? But the fact that it's top trending on StockTwits means that additional traders are looking at it. Some people might be looking to buy it and play off of a bounce. Right now, we're currently moving down. You can see that over the course of the trading day, we've just been getting beaten down, but we are still up over 12% on the day. So we'll see. Maybe we'll bottom out at 80 cents and start moving up from there. However, some traders from StockTwits may be getting in on this. Now, the place that I'm really excited about is actually Reddit and Wall Street Bets, right? These are the top trending stocks on Reddit, and Sundial is the number 6 top trending stock right now, up 43 places over the course of today because just so much positive news has come out for them. A lot of posts have gone out for them, and I expect that we could get up much higher than this because there is a lot of Sundial news to talk about. There's a lot of things that you could mention in a post on Reddit, and a lot of Redditors are probably going to take to Sundial. I know it has been high up on the rankings in the past. So I do expect that on this news and on this big pump, a lot of people will likely talk about Sundial stock. So this could really get up to the top of Reddit and Wall Street Bets, and we could start to see more retail coming into Sundial stock. In addition, a lot of people who are fans of GameStop and AMC are also fans of Sundial and may consider putting some of their capital into Sundial. So I could see Sundial rising for a variety of reasons. I'm very excited for Sundial stock. I bought some more today. I held my shares that I had before today. And I think that Sundial is in for a very bright future. Now, obviously, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to buy Sundial stock. I'm not telling anyone to sell it. I'm not telling anyone to hold it. This isn't financial advice. I'm just giving you guys my opinion and laying out some of the catalysts that I see for Sundial stock. And if you guys see any additional catalysts, feel free to put them in the comment section below. And also, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's much appreciated, guys. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.